If you look at your life and see a graveyard of half-finished projects, a guitar resting in the corner, a half-built website, a box of baking tools, and a sudden pull toward learning jiu-jitsu, you probably carry a very specific kind of shame. Society has a label for you. Dilettante. They say you are chaotic or that you don't have the grit to commit to one thing. You feel like an imposter because you can't choose a single lane and stay there. You probably know the phrase, jack of all trades, master of none, and you use it as a weapon against yourself, but you're forgetting how it ends. The full line is, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Psychology suggests this scattered feeling isn't a flaw. It's a signal of a highly adaptive nervous system. You aren't failing to specialize, you're unconsciously constructing a rare cognitive structure known as the M-shaped mind. While the world tells you to narrow your focus, your brain is preparing you for a future where hyper-specialization is a weakness. Before we break down why your chaos is actually a survival strategy, to understand why this anxiety exists, we have to examine the lie you were taught. For the last 100 years, the world functioned like an eye-shaped game. It rewarded people who dug one hole a mile deep. It was a kind learning environment, like golf, where the rules never changed. Practice the same swing for 10,000 hours and you win. But you don't live in a kind environment. Your brain knows this instinctively. The modern world is a wicked environment. The rules shift every day. In a wicked environment, the specialist is brittle. When the industry shifts, they become obsolete. Because of this, you drift naturally. One year you're consumed by electrical wiring and HVAC systems. The next year, you're immersed in yoga, heavy lifting, and DJing rave music. From the outside, this looks like chaos. They might call you strange, they might call you unfocused, but what you're actually doing is collecting data points from unrelated domains. This is where the magic begins. Psychology calls this far transfer. The specialist relies on near transfer. They solve familiar problems with familiar tools, but you operate differently. You use far transfer. You take an idea from one field and apply it to another. That has nothing to do with it. Think of the web developer who once kept bees and worked the land. On paper, those worlds have nothing to do with code, but that agricultural background lets them understand organic systems and growth cycles in a way a screen-bound specialist never could. They aren't just writing code, they're cultivating an ecosystem. That is far transfer, that is innovation. You feel like an imposter because you aren't the best at any single thing. But you're missing the truth. Your value isn't in depth alone, it lives in synthesis. Now, realizing that your curiosity is a strength can feel like a relief, but it doesn't fix the immediate weight of the burnout, the sense that you're falling behind. You watch people your age become senior vice presidents or lead engineers, and it feels like you're still standing at the starting line because you keep changing direction. This happens because you're misreading the shape of your own potential. You aren't T-shaped, general knowledge with one deep specialty. You are M-shaped. An M-shaped person has multiple pillars of depth, linked by a bridge of curiosity. But here's the trap. You can't build every pillar of the M at the same time. If you try to learn data science, write a novel, and launch a business, all in the same month, you collapse. The people who move through this life well, the true polymaths, practice what's called serial mastery. You have to see your life in seasons. You might spend your 20s obsessed with music and art. Then in your 30s, you pivot to programming. To pay the bills, you didn't abandon art, you simply completed that season of construction. I once saw the story of a 53-year-old who finally made peace with this. He realized he didn't have to choose between art and programming. He let programming be the pillar that supported his life, while music, philosophy, and game design grew as the other pillars. On nights and weekends, he turned down high-demand team lead roles to keep his work week at 30 hours. He protected his psychic energy. He didn't force everything to merge at once. He let it unfold in sequence. And over time, those paths converged into his own personal video game projects. That is the M-shape at work. There is one final psychological trait that makes you resilient, and it comes from evolutionary biology. It's called redundancy. In nature, redundancy is strength, not waste. Elephants rarely get cancer because they carry massive genetic redundancy, multiple copies of the same cancer-fighting gene. If one fails, another takes over, your scattered interests. Are your redundancy, if you're only a specialist software engineer and automation replaces you, fear takes over. But if you are a software engineer who can also wire electrical systems, repair HVAC motors, and teach English, you're unbreakable. You were never wasting time. By dabbling, you were practicing strategic adaptability. You were weaving a safety net of skills that ensures no matter what happens to the economy, technology, or the job market, you always have a way to pivot. So stop apologizing for your graveyard of hobbies. Those weren't failures, they were semesters at a university you built yourself. You were never meant to be just one thing. You were designed to be the bridge between worlds others can't even see.